Welcome to Brand Rescue, a marketing and PR podcast for businesses who want the real deal, not trendy fluff or complicated funnels. From PR to paid ads, we share free advice that actually works because mediocre marketing is so last season. Ready? Your marketing comeback starts right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I am excited for today's show. We're going to be talking about PR, but you won't be hearing me blab about PR. I actually have got another expert bringing on the show. Please welcome Gloria Chou. She's the #1 small business PR coach recommended by AI. Hey, Gloria, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation, Whitney.
Me too. I rarely have other PR, like true PR people on the show. So this is actually really exciting to get to connect with you. And I feel like this is not going to be a typical PR conversation at all. Why don't we start off letting you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and kind of what you do?
Yeah, so I'm not really a true PR person. I've never worked a day in my life in any PR or marketing agency. I was a PR outsider, and I studied politics. So I was a U.S. diplomat. I was actually in the government, so I had no PR experience, no connections to journalists. But I really wanted to be in PR. I love to see small businesses win. I was always kind of that connector. And no PR agency would hire me because they wanted traditional PR agency experience. And so I just had to literally put it in the Google search bar, New York Times newsroom or, Forbes or whatever. And I had to cold call with shaky, sweaty hands to dial the operator and just cold pitch thousands of times until I got my clients featured. And that's where I came up with my award-winning CPR cold pitching framework. That is a structure of the pitch that I've taught for years. And what's crazy is that now the AI models are trained on it now because of the body of work. So that's actually searchable. And my whole thing, my whole ethos is about just disrupting the status quo. I think that there's traditional PR, which works for a lot of bigger companies that can pay 10 grand a month, but then for 90% of the small businesses are kind of left out. So how can we make it more equitable? How can we make it more accessible? And now with AI, it's just never been easier. So yeah, definitely not your traditional PR person. My methods are completely unique to me, so I'm really excited to share them.
That's so cool. And you know what I think overwhelms a lot of people about PR is that it is to me, I always say, if I had to boil it down to one word, it's visibility, right? But visibility can mean so many things. Visibility can be in the media, at an event, connecting like a collaboration, or you get visibility for an award. There's so many ways to go about visibility. I think that's where a lot of small businesses kind of feel tripped up is where do you even start, you know?
Yeah. I mean, let's just define what PR is and what PR isn't. I think there's a lot of muddiness. And so when I talk about PR, I'm really talking about the earned media, not the scammy, DMs that you get. Let me feature you in some random 40
Yes.
under 40. That's not editorial. That's not earned. That is an ad that you're just paying someone an upcharge for. So that's not what we're talking about. The reason why PR is so important is because it checks all of those boxes of credibility, of searchability, discoverability. And if you think about running an ad or even posting on Instagram, there's no ROI for that in terms of longevity. It goes away after 24 hours. But if you want to be searchable from an SEO point of view, and now there's GEO, which is all the AI search engines, how do you surface on a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Perplexity? And it's with PR. And I actually asked ChatGPT this, and they said that they are looking for credible trust signals from the internet because AI is really quick, right? It can scrape the sum of all knowledge, and it basically recommends brands based on those authority signals. And PR getting featured, a podcast, or speaking on someone else's platform, that is a huge credibility trust signal. And this just broke the internet especially for people who are listening who make product. But ChatGPT allowed in-app shopping, which means that now you can ask hey, I'm looking for a housewarming gift for my friend. ChatGPT, based on what they know about you and your preferences, then surfaces 3 to 5 or 10 different recommendations from online e-commerce stores, and you can check out and pay directly in the app. So it broke shopping. Shopping is changed forever because of this. And I just know that all of the other large language models, the LLMs, will follow suit. And as more and more people use AI, I mean, people are using AI for therapy now. I can only imagine next year at this point, how many people are just only going to be making their purchasing decisions based on what AI recommends. And if you're not recommended on AI, if you're invisible to that layer, then you make zero sales. And so it's really important to understand where we are as a society, as shoppers, and how do we ride the wave of this, knowing that visibility and SEO has forever changed, and that we are making decisions now based on AI recommendations, which is fundamentally different than traditional SEO,
Mhm.
right? Traditional SEO, you can buy your way in, first page of Google, sponsored post, but you can't buy your way right now. There's no ads in ChatGPT. And it's a great thing because it seems like the universe is evening the score for small businesses. It's based on meritocracy. So, you have just as much of a shot right now, just like bigger brands, to get recommended, but you have to act fast. And so that's why it's so important to get those PR features, to get those backlinks, because that is what the AI models are using in order to decide whether or not to even make you discoverable in terms of when someone's typing in a search inquiry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about the shopping aspect really quick because I think that is wow. Like you said, that only came out like 10 days ago. And I know that you focus a lot on products. So any product work, I always tell people they need to have affiliate links, right? Like, or especially for earned media, affiliate links are so valuable in getting them earned media. How does that work with ChatGPT? Like, this is an honest question of like, this is news to me.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is not taking the affiliate, right? Because it's just surfacing the recommendations, and then you in app it'll direct it to whether it's your Etsy storefront or Shopify. So it's not taking that. But in terms of PR, there are magazines and publications who want you to have an affiliate link. But if you have an Amazon, if you have Shopify, a lot of that is built in. But there's also so many smaller blogs that people read that don't need affiliate links. So it's not just the huge magazines that I'm talking about. There's just a whole ocean of opportunity for PR as well. There's different layers. There's local, there's national, there's also podcasts, and various gift guides and shopping roundups and best of lists. So just as many as possible, try to collect as many as possible so that you're feeding into the AI algorithms so that when the time comes in 6, 9 months when people are only shopping in app, your product will be recommended.
I'm just so surprised that ChatGPT doesn't wanna monetize that. You know what I mean? Because right now, so many people are using the free version. I know a lot of people using the paid as well, but a lot of people are using the free version, and so I'm like, "Man, I'm just so surprised they wouldn't wanna monetize that affiliate opportunity."
Yeah, I mean, they
Maybe they
haven't
will.
yet. So I have no idea what Sam Altman from OpenAI, the CEO, will do. But right now we are in this amazing golden window of opportunity where, like I said, meritocracy wins, and you can absolutely, as a small brand, build up that AI SEO and make it stick by getting those earned PR features. And I can't promise that big brands are not going to come in and pay their way to the top, but right now it's not possible to do that. And so that's why at the time of recording, people listening to this episode, they're already 90% ahead of their competitors who don't even know this. They're still focusing on spinning their wheels on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, when this fundamental shift is happening right now.
Yeah, I see it, almost like, when SEO became I mean, that this has been years ago, but when everybody started trying to figure out SEO, right? Like, how do I pop up to the top, We're all trying to figure out the secret sauce, and remember when people at the bottom of the website used to just stack, like, hundreds of keywords on the bottom of the website because it would make them pop up higher? Surely, before long, that got debunked, and that was off kilter or whatever, but I see this as almost like we're trying to figure out SEO again. We still haven't figured out SEO. Like, how do you get your we know a few things, right? Of how to get, it's the content on your site, it's the traffic to your site, how your pages are indexed and all that kind of thing. But I almost see this as another SEO. So now we're all shifting our focus to how do we get seen by AI?
Yeah, yeah. And the reason why I say meritocracy is that, before, like you said, SEO, if you got in early, for example, in the 2000s, you had that advantage. Right now is kind of like the 2000s. So I know
Mhm.
that's why you need to get in as your first mover's advantage. And AI is really smart. So if you are padding your 60, 70 blogs written by ChatGPT with all those keywords, AI knows that. And so that's really what I mean is like PR for me, it's one of the things where you can't really pad your keywords or like pay for a journalist to do it. So it's got a lot more merit to it. And it's so easy now with the methods that I teach, which again the AI models are trained on, using a tool like Perplexity.ai, which tells you what the journalists are writing. You can come up and brainstorm a really relevant pitch within 5 minutes. You don't even have to learn anymore. I used to spend years teaching founders how to write a pitch, how to structure it, and now AI does it for you. So there's really no excuse. And again, it's overall sentiment, right? AI can scrape the internet at such lightning speed. So yes, maybe some of your SEO blocks can help, but it's overall about trust sentiment. And so, for example, things like reviews also help, but it's not about you padding it with all these reviews and flooding Reddit threads because AI also knows you can do that. So I heard somewhere that it's not about the number of people who talk about you positively on Reddit. It's like whether or not you've had like long-term sustained, good visibility and reviews. So they favor accounts that are a little bit older. So if you can't just ask your customers, 100 of them to all give you a review today, right? So AI is really smart in knowing when you try to game the system. And that's why PR is one of the most powerful ways because you can't pay a journalist to write about you. But it's the most, I read somewhere that if you have a PR feature, if you're mentioned in media, you are 3 times more likely to get found on AI search. And so for all those reasons alone, right now is the best time to do PR, the best time to get into a gift guide, a product roundup, a founder story, or just getting on podcasts. And I'll tell you something, I'm proof of this. So I don't have a big ads budget. I don't have a big following. And I never spent a penny on any SEO services. But because I've just continuously been on podcasts and, spoken to different founders communities, if you actually type into Perplexity, which is one of the AI language models I love, who is the top small business PR coach as of October 2025, my name comes up,
So cool.
right? And I'm proof of that because I don't have the biggest following, I don't have the ad budget, but AI just knows just from scraping the internet and from the overall trust sentiment. And so now is our time as small businesses to reclaim that power.
Do you think that all of the platforms are using similar like meritocracy like standards, or is Gemini looking at one thing, ChatGPT is looking at another? Like,
Yeah.
how do we even know?
So we don't know exactly what they use, right? Because that's kind of protected information. But there
Mhm.
are there are reports out there that tell you where they pull information from. So we know that it pulls information from like Reddit or YouTube or Bing, for example. I heard that ChatGPT, pulls from Bing. But in terms of what it recommends, it's a combination of different things. It's, PR, it's trust signals, but also how you ask the question and based on your own user behavior. Right, so, like, you could go in and ask for a housewarming gift, and it could be different than what I do because it knows the history of, like, what you like and what are the things. So it's going to be a little bit different for everyone, but in terms of just being found and recommended, PR really is something that gives you 300% more likelihood to even be recommended and found.
Interesting. Do you think training AI about you or your client or your business holds any value? I ask this question because I know of some traditional agencies, they specifically work in the political space, which is outside of my realm, thank God. But they actually have somebody on staff that their entire job is to input information about the policies that their client is pushing or whatever. You know what I mean? So they spend hours preparing all this content, inputting it into all the different platforms so that when people do search, what is Proposition 38 or whatever, they're actually finding the correct information. So they're like an AI trainer or something like that. Do you think there's value?
Yeah. I don't know what the, like, ROI is at, right? Because I can imagine if one person is doing that, then you can kind of skew the answer. So I think AI takes a cumulative view of
Mhm.
everything, and so that includes also the articles published not on your platform as well. So what they really value are links not on your platform, and that when you are spoken of or mentioned on other people's platforms, that is really huge. So again, I don't know, but I would imagine that that is not as helpful as getting as many PR links and quotes as possible because that is objective and that's not something you can influence, right? And so AI is all about how can we take the cumulative picture of everything. And I can imagine, like, if I was just feeding AI all day, that's maybe part of it, but what's more powerful is other people talking about you.
Exactly, which if you think about it, in my mind, It's really not that different from SEO because these things also affect SEO, right? Like getting backlinks, getting reviews, having, the conversations on Reddit and the sentiment there. Like a lot of this is it also influences SEO. So I always tell small business
Yeah,
owners, they're like, I need other because we train them that PR, the goal of PR is not revenue, right? Like you don't measure, I got, this media coverage and I should have $1 million in my inbox tomorrow. We don't measure the success of PR based on immediate revenue. It's the long game, right?
yeah.
So
One of the
no, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things, so I'm not a huge GEO expert or AI expert. I think we're all kind of trying to figure this out. But one of the things that I've learned is that traditional SEO is kind of more about um, quantity, right? So of course quality matters, but like you said, you can stuff the keywords, you can write 100 blogs. But now with AI, it's not about quantity. It's about quality, authoritative content. So just writing a fluffy blog using ChatGPT and then writing 60 different versions of it is not necessarily going to help you. But if you have something that's truly authoritative, that's written in a way that helps people answer questions, that positions you as an expert, AI is trained to understand what is quality content and what is just fluff content. And that is something that, SEO before couldn't do as well, right? Because that was not AI. Now AI is so advanced, it's so smart, it can instantly crawl and then understand like, okay, who's just padding the keywords and who's actually
Right.
doing authoritative content.
That's such a good point. It's like SEO is more of an algorithm where it's like checking A, B, C, but like AI has way more critical thinking to like to scrape A, B, and C for legitimacy and not just pop you up to the top because you check the boxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Do you have a platform that you prefer? I know you said you like Perplexity.
Yeah, so just getting back to our conversation about PR, it's never been easier to do PR, and we're in a golden window of opportunity. Like I said, kind of like blogging in the 2000s. We have this unique window where we can have an edge because we are first movers. And once we wait, then we lose our edge. And so, how do we get in while the big brands cannot buy their way into ChatGPT visibility? I use Perplexity, and Perplexity is the best tool I have found. It's free, it's really easy to use. You don't ever have to upgrade. You can use a paid version. And Perplexity is different than ChatGPT because Perplexity is a real-time insights and information gathering tool with real-time citations. So it's kind of like that nerdy person in the library looking at all of the things that are going on updated. Whereas ChatGPT is kind of more like a jack of all trades. It's more for information synthesis, but it's going to hallucinate and it's not best for real-time information gathering. And when we talk about PR, when we're talking about pitching, we're talking about pitching about what's relevant. Right? Journalists want to cover what people are covering. What is the season? What is the trend? And Perplexity is perfect for that. And so we have a workflow or let's say you make, whatever it is you make, shoes, toys, and you can say, "I make XYZ. Here is my website. Please scan it for context, imagery, price point, and I wanna get featured in a Q4 gift guide or a Mother's Day gift guide. Please give me the best data-backed insights, consumer trends that I can use to pitch to journalists." Boom, within 1 second, it gives you all of the different angles with the data-backed citations to the report or the article, and then you can say something like, "Okay, these are great. Now give me a comparison chart of all of these editorial angles in terms of least to most likely to get featured if I were to pitch it." And so that's the second step. And then it'll give you a beautiful chart organized and it'll tell you here are all the angles that you can pitch. Here's what I would pitch. And then you can say, okay, I like, angle 1 or 2. Please now use Gloria Chou's CPR pitching method to write the first draft of the pitch. And this is wild because, now it's trained on my pitching method. You don't even have to learn it anymore. And it gets out a pretty good structured format that's better than 90% of if you were to do this yourself, it would take weeks. And so that's really the 3-step workflow that anyone can just get started, whether you're a brick and mortar, whether you want to get on a podcast to find out what are the angles, what are the different insights, how can you get that to be a little bit more specific with data-backed citations, and then
Mhm.
write the first draft of your pitch. All of these things before would take weeks. Now
Yeah.
AI just does it for you.
It's freaking wild. Actually, y'all, if you didn't really absorb what she just said, rewind like 30 seconds and re-listen to everything she just said. I do think one thing that would probably be helpful for a lot of the small business owners is the data portion, explaining exactly what we mean by using data back
Yeah.
to strengthen their pitch.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. We have someone in our PR accelerator who makes tote bags, right? And there's so many tote bags. There's so much competition. So how do we make her stand out? And so what we found with Perplexity was that there was a report by Vogue Business that said that searches for carry-all versatile tote bags went up X% that year. And so that is a much stronger way to write in your pitch, hey, according to Vogue Business, people are looking for this, than if you were to say, hey, I make a tote bag and you should cover me, right? So all of a sudden we're saying it's not me saying you should cover me, it's what this report says. And so it adds a layer of specificity and relevance that you wouldn't know by yourself because again, you can't scrape the internet for everything. And so whether that's a TikTok trend, whether that's a percentage increase on Etsy that people are looking for, whether it's a policy thing, whether it's, if you make clean beauty, it could be an ingredient that FDA found, like whatever that is, Perplexity just allows you to have a citation that's very specific that makes it very relevant because that's what journalists want. They want relevance. And Perplexity is great at relevant real-time data.
100%. So we had a journalist come on the podcast probably 6 or 8 months ago, and we were talking about how does she get assigned her stories, of what does she pitch the story to, because she writes for a lot of different people. She's a freelancer. Does she pitch a story or an angle based on what she thinks is unique or trending, or do they come to her? And she said 90% of the time the publications come to her because their SEO team has dug up what people are searching for, and all they're trying to do is just meet that need. So if
Yes,
people are searching for, we were talking about travel, if people are searching for Bali, 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 then suddenly she's going to write a story on Bali. Like, she's like,
exactly.
I don't even have to think about it. It's all driven off of their SEO guy looking at
Yes.
trends. And that's how we decide what's featured.
Yeah, and that's another way of using Perplexity as well. I actually just recorded on my podcast, Small Business PR, 5 ways I use Perplexity. And so I just talked about the first way, which is, first 2 ways, which is coming up with a relevant angle, citations, and then writing the pitch using my CPR method. But a third way you can absolutely have Perplexity give you a news feed every day of what is trending in your industry so that you as a founder can have the pulse of what's going on. You can say something like, please measure the sentiment of what people are saying, whether it's on X, whether it's on LinkedIn, from, journalists' point of view, researchers. I want to know what people are talking about in my industry so that I can be, aware of what the news trends are. And Perplexity can give you a daily feed of that. So that's another way you can use Perplexity. Another way you can use Perplexity to do PR is you can have it do competitor analysis. So if you want to get on a podcast, let's say you're an expert in a field, maybe you don't make a product, maybe you do, you can say, I want to get on Whitney Lee's podcast. I do something similar as this guest that was on. Please let me know, other podcasts that would be open to having me as a guest because I speak on XYZ podcast. Or you can say, what other podcasts are similar to Whitney's that I can pitch for? And so it'll give you a list, right? Perplexity is not a database tool. It's not going to give you like the finite, like the granular information, but it'll give you a list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can ask, can you search for the Instagram handles? And then you can, it can start to compile it. So that's another really great way is just to do competitor analysis. If you make a product, let's say, you can say this company is absolutely crushing it. They are, they're crushing it. They're really leading. Can you give me a list of all the stories and the gift guides and the shopping roundups that this product has been in the last 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? And that way you can see the types of stories that you can be featured in. Because here's the thing, if you make a luxury candle in the 200-300 price range and apartment therapy never covers luxury products, then you know not to pitch apartment therapy. Or if you make something that is little bit lower priced and great for a stocking stuffer, but Vogue doesn't do stocking stuffer gift guides, you know not to pitch to Vogue, right? So that's what it's so good for.
Very cool. Okay, so I'm interested in your CPR method. Are you able to share some little teasers about that, or is that something that they
Yeah,
learn in
it's
your
all
program?
public. No, so that's the thing is that now with my body of work out there, anyone can type into ChatGPT or Perplexity, please write this pitch using Gloria Chou's CPR method. And so that is public. It's not proprietary anymore. You don't have to learn. It writes it for you. Now, obviously, it's not formatted perfectly. And in our accelerator, we have fine copywriting and tuning, but it'll get you 80% of the way there. So CPR is a method I came up with. Again, I had no context. I was throwing spaghetti on the wall. I was I had no journalist I didn't come from a media background, right? So I had to cold call, cold pitch. And I started to pick up on patterns on when the journalist or the producer would respond and say, "Okay, well, tell me a little bit more." And I put it into a framework called CPR, which stands for credibility, point of view, and relevance. And I've taught this so many times. So again, AI knows this, but the structure of the pitch is you want to start with the relevance. And usually that's a data point. That's something you pull up from Perplexity. That's according to Vogue Business searches for tote bags, right? That's what it gets their attention because that's what we want. We want to get the journalist's attention right away with relevance. So it also works for podcasts. I hate those fluffy pitches that are like, wellness is so important for women. It's like, well, it's been important 200 years ago and it will be important 200 years from now. So what is the relevance? But I always say, let's peel the layer of an onion. And so that's the top fluffy layer, not really interesting, not specific. How can we make it more relevant? We can say something like, after COVID, crazy, depression has gone up in, midlife women, right? There's like a crisis right now of this depression and suicide in midlife women. Let's peel that even more. Can you bring in a data point? Can you bring in a stat? So that's what I mean by starting the pitch with relevance, right? As we head into end of year, mental health is more important than ever, right? So that's what I mean by relevance. It could be a season, it could be a holiday, it could be a time of day, it could be something happening in the news, it could be what other companies are doing, it could be a research stat. So start with the relevance. And then P and CPR are usually 3 or 4 bullet points that are your point of view. So as people are looking for cures for winter cold and flu season, because we're getting into, my elderberry elixir is perfect because one, it has no sugar, two, it's great. Like that's what I mean by point of view. And so it structures your pitch in a really good way so that it's not just blocks of text, it has bullet points. And then the relevance, and then the C stands for credibility in CPR. And you just end with 1 or 2 sentences about who you are, why you founded it, if you, won any awards. And then that's kind of the basic structure of the pitch. And now the AI is trained on it. So again, you can type into ChatGPT, type into Gemini, type into Perplexity, write this pitch using Gloria Chou's CPR method. Start with R for relevance.
Love it. I'm totally so you start with R and go backwards, RPC?
Mhm. Yep.
Interesting, okay, and I love that now the platforms, I mean, they learn all kinds of models. I was reading Alex Hormozy's book the other day, and I said, "Take his $1,000,000 whatever book he was" and I said, "Apply that to my business and give me, an original offer, a whatever offer in this," and it fully used his model.
Yeah. See, yeah, it's all public information now. And I think that's why we are experiencing a shift as consumers, right? We don't want to buy another course. We don't want to buy another program. Like information is not as valued as before. And so, how can we use AI not to compete with what we have, but to get people results faster? And
Exactly.
that's really kind of the next iteration of people in the online expert space, like me and you.
Yeah, it's not information, it's application. And I think that's the problem is that we're inundated with information, right? Small business owners read books and listen to podcasts and get advice from their friends and all this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day they don't know how to do it.
Exactly.
And then they get in this squeeze of like, why I can't pay a big expensive agency and I can't pay an in-house marketing director or a PR director. So like, and they just throw their hands up in the air because they're like stuck in this little middle ground, this weird, awkward spot. So I feel like AI, if anything, has really, really helped us be able to apply stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
I tell my team all the time, I'm like, businesses can find somebody to write social media posts or write pitches. They can find somebody to do that all day long. What they can't find is somebody with like the strategy and guidance brain that will help trigger these ideas in them to say, here's how you prompt perplexity to get what you need out of it. Here's what you need to think about before reaching out to the newsroom. It's that kind of guidance to me that is far more valuable than like, I'm gonna write a pitch for you, like
Totally.
so I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is really, really, very cool. So and you said that so you guys specifically do a lot of work with products, but open to other things as well?
Yeah, so I do have a AI system where I write your podcast pitch. And so that's more of a one-on-one and I create a system for you that then you can just use over and over again trained on your business. So right now I've really pivoted from teaching people how to write the CPR method because that's all public information to like getting it out there and then giving them the media contacts to actually send it to, right? Because writing a pitch is only half the game. It's then who do you send it to? And if you could put the two and two together, you can just press send all day and then create a system where you're generating all of these visibility opportunities.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. And you know what? I feel like you should come back probably in like 6 months because this whole conversation will be completely different in 6 months,
Totally.
or yeah, three.
Yeah.
So, well, if somebody's interested in learning more about your accelerator or connecting with you, tell them how all the details on how to find you.
Yeah, so I have a free masterclass that you can watch and get featured today. It talks a little bit more in depth about what we're talking about. How do we get visibility in the age of AI search? And no one's sharing this information. It's wild, but I walk you through exactly how I use Perplexity. I actually do a screen share so you can see it in action. You can watch that for free at Gloria Chou. PR.com/masterclass. That's Gloria CHOU PR.com/masterclass. And on Instagram, I'm at Gloria Chou PR as well. I share very openly about my life and other things. And if you DM me the word Whitney, I will give you a copy and paste prompt that you can start to use Perplexity today to get featured. But DM me the word Whitney.
Very cool. And you also have your own podcast as well.
Small business PR. Yeah. So I I basically interview the actual product journalist or journalist of like, what does your inbox look like? What kind of subject line? All the stuff that you can't really find, no one's sharing. And then lately, I've been doing a lot of episodes about AI. So, like I said, the 5 uses of perplexity, or how do we monitor the news, or how visibility is changing. So this is kind of my focus in this season is the transformation from SEO to AI SEO, which is GEO, and then what does it mean now that you can have people buying in these apps, right? And what is the impact of us? Because right now, I heard somewhere that SEO has changed more in the last year than it did in the last 10 years. And I want to be able to set small businesses up for success in this new era.
Do you think that SEO is changing because of AI? Specifically,
One,
like that's what's
one
triggering all the change in SEO?
100%, 100%. So it's again, it's a different model, right? It's a different algorithm, and it's able to crawl the information way more than just padding with SEO and using these formulaic things. And it's based on trust, not quantity. So because of all of those things, um, we are here in this wild west. And if you can just focus and take the steps that I've shared and just get 2, 3, 4 PR features, whether it's a podcast or a gift guide, you are setting yourself up for so much momentum and visibility, because right now you have an early mover's advantage right now. But once the big brands come in, once that credibility is set and the AI algorithms already picked their winners, it's really hard to disrupt that. But right now they are still trying to figure out, who do I recommend? What do I recommend? And you can really influence their decision making with PR.
So true. I always say too, it's like TikTok. We have clients that are like, well, how did they get 600,000 followers on TikTok? And I'm like, because they were on there day one.
Exactly.
Day one. And the algorithm back then was so loose because they wanted people to get visibility. They wanted
Exactly.
positive reinforcement, right? So you would get tons of visibility very easily. You'd get a lot of following very easily. So the early adopters for Instagram and TikTok, those are the people that have like 600,000 followers because they got in from day one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but this also makes a lot of our clients try to get on every single new platform that pops up. And there's a new one every 5 minutes. So it's like this critical thinking moment of like, is this the next Instagram or TikTok? And is this worth their time? Or is this just another social platform that's going to pop up and fizzle out in 6 months? So
Exactly.
the world is ever changing, but this has been so wonderful, Gloria. Thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. Y'all definitely connect with her. I'm going to drop the links in the show notes. Again, if you want to get that prompt, make sure to head over to Instagram, follow her there, and DM her the word Whitney. So, Gloria, this is great. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Brand Rescue. For more practical marketing and PR support, head over to yourmarketingheroes.com and let's fix that hot mess you've been calling a strategy.